Hello, friends. We're back for your favorite weekly podcast show. This is Location Weekly. It's episode number 579. We're recording on July the 26th. Yes, the month has gone quickly, and but we've got four good stories to share with you as usual this week. And I'll let Aubriana tell us what's going on, what's happening.
Well, here in New York, if you are, in the tri-state area, you have been melting this week, as most of us. And it looks like we're getting a little reprieve this morning. So I am grateful for a little bit of a break from the heat and humidity. Not a huge break, but I'll take the 10 degrees, ma'am. And maybe, I don't know what percentage drop in humidity, but yes, I feel like I've been in Atlanta and it's, I'm not in Atlanta anymore, but so I'm thankful for that. But I do love the summer, and I'm also looking forward to a weekend with friends and hanging out with them around the pool. So even if the humidity comes back, like Asif is telling me is going to happen up here in the Northeast, I'll be able to jump in and cool off. But yeah, it's just summer, getting to middle end of summer here and trying to enjoy it. How about you?
Yeah, kind of the same. Like we had the same humidity. We tend to have the same weather here in Toronto that you guys have. Generally, it kind of comes all the way up that eastern seaboard there. But yeah, we've had the little break from the humidity the last couple of days, and apparently the weekend it's coming back. But yeah, it's been good. Toronto's like every weekend. There's some, 4, 5, 6, different street festivals going on. So in my neighborhood, there was the Beaches Jazz Festival all weekend. So I got to spend a bunch of time hanging out, checking out some bands and eating some food, on the street, which was kind of fun. But there's always stuff going on here. It's a good time in the summer. And I guess we can't complain too much because, soon it'll be winter and then we'll be like, it's so cold and, we'll be looking for that heat again. So you gotta embrace all the seasons.
That's right. Soak it in. Well, we have a good
So
story today, and I can kick it off. We've got four stories.
yeah.
But our friends over at Rio SEO. Hi, Scott. We've known this company for a long time LBMA members. And they have partnered with Movable Ink for some hyper local content. This is a pretty cool and I would say straightforward yet applicable partnership here. So if you don't know Rio SEO, they provide this all-in-one local marketing platform. So they're all about increasing that online visibility, hence the name Rio SEO. And Movable Ink, which is a content personalization company. And so the strategic partnership is really creating a streamlined search experience for their customers, but delivering that content via email and mobile. So pretty cool. You think about, a lot of retail locations have multiple locations, and sending the most relevant content via mobile and email is really important. So, maybe not sending something for a store that's further away or that may have like a little different offering. So they work with retail clients like Pandora Jewelry. So some of the examples they said marketers would be able to better distribute local store data, seamless integration with email and mobile marketing communications, and ensuring that accurate store information tailored to each specific, recipient's hyperlocal location. And then the personalization, really making sure that relevant and targeted information. And one thing that they noted, and I would love to have some numbers on this, but they were saying this obviously in turn reduces unsubscribe rates and encourages sales and customer retention, which I agree with. Like, how many times do you get an email that you just say, this is not applicable to me? I don't, I signed up for this when I was in another city. Let me just unsubscribe really quickly. So I like that they have that focus as well. So nothing groundbreaking here, but sounds like a very strong partnership for their clients, and just kind of continuing that hyper local focus, that consumer engagement focus, and making things more relevant at that local level.
Yeah, I think it's as you say, it's an interesting partnership. I think, from a Rio point of view, I think this widens their portfolio of services nicely, and adding in sort of that expertise that Movable Ink has in hyperlocal email marketing, and being able to sort of put in real time content into those emails, I think makes sense. It's something that I still think is, especially on the email side of things, is underutilized, and maybe not even well known that that's out there and available. I don't see it from a ton of companies, but I think it makes sense, right? Like, I think it's, and especially if you're a retailer or a restaurant brand or somebody like that, that has those kinds of newsletters and subscriptions and things like that you just referenced. I think having that kind of real-time localized content can add a lot there. And obviously Rio has a lot of those types of clients with their broader platform services. So I think bringing these two things together makes a lot of sense. So good partnership. All right, on to our second story now. So GetGo Cafe and Markets, which is a division of Giant Eagle, has rolled out some new technology in their stores. So if you've been into any kind of convenience store or that type of setup, and you walk in and they've got like the refrigerators, with all the drinks and everything in there, and you're looking to grab your Gatorade or your Coke or whatever it is that you're grabbing, you open up the thing and you look to get what you have. But they're using some new technology from a company called Cooler Screens, and replaces the traditional doors on these refrigerators in the stores with digital smart screens. So picture now, instead of the glass door, now you have a screen. And what's cool about this is these screens are real-time digital door displays of content. And they're able to superimpose contextually relevant media and merchandising content on the screens. So kind of trying to improve the experience there. And what's really interesting about it is when the shopper approaches the cooler before making a potential purchase, the display switches from whatever the ad content was to a planogram. And the planogram then provides product and pricing promotions and nutritional information about the actual products that are behind the door. So I think that's really interesting. And they're seeing some good results with this. So they've increased, GetGo says they've increased same store sales and customer experience, and utilize insights from this specifically. They've recorded a 4.9% incremental same store sales lift for beverages, driven by soft drinks, coffee, and energy. And they've also experienced a 4.4% growth in beverage transactions in these digitally enabled stores compared to the non-digital stores. So overall, they're getting good results, and I don't know what the payback period is on, technology and screens like this, but I think it's interesting. And if it's driving more incremental sales, if people are going in there looking for, the promotions or the nutritional information, and being able to kind of transition that in real time as they approach the door, I think it's kind of cool. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like having something that is more than just like a sticker banner on a door is really helpful. Maybe being able to see multiple options. When you go to those glasses, a lot of times you have 50 different options in front of you in one door alone. And so being able to make a quick choice, or having an idea of what you're looking for, or trying something new, sometimes you just grab something and go, but maybe you would add, like you mentioned, add another beverage to that to try something different, and increase those sales. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think that it just probably depends on the context in terms of like nutritional information could also deter people from making certain transactions versus promoting it. So, it's one of those things that you're like, is ignorance bliss? I don't know when it comes to our drink choices. But overall, I like the idea of having a more, not necessarily interactive, but a smarter, way of advertising in that area in a convenience store. So interesting. Well, let's move from beverages over to the most magical place on earth, apparently, which is Disney, if you don't know. I mean, I'm not one of those Disney people. I don't think you are either, Steve. There's like those adults that go to Disney every year because they love Disney, because they have kids.
No, that's not me.
So it
Well,
is on my
I have to say this though. Like based on some friends who've been recently with, young, younger kids, and I have a son, who's into this. But like, I will go at some point soon, just for the Star Wars experience stuff, because I'm into that, he's into that, and I think that's pretty cool from what I've seen and heard. But other than that, I'm kind of not really a huge Disney fan.
I could agree. So I am definitely planning on a Disney trip in my near future. You know, my kids are at those ages where it's still like magical and the princess and whatever else is like still cool. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's definitely not like one of my top places as an adult that I'm dying to go.
Right.
However, there's a new partnership that Disney is teaming up with Snap for. And this is letting people who are visiting Magic Kingdom Park add their selfies or like their photos as stars to this AR mural around Cinderella's castle. Cinderella's castle is like this big centerpiece in the middle of the park. A lot of the parades, the fireworks, all of the magic kind of started and happens there. So this is happening. They're pairing Snap's augmented reality lens technology with Disney's PhotoPass service. And this is an experience that you have to purchase. It's like everything else at Disney, so I hear. And so what this is allowing park visitors, they choose a spot on like Cinderella's castle, they digitally pin their photos there. And then over time, Disney's saying it's going to open up more areas of the castle for visitors to pin their memories. And you can see everybody's photos there. So if you pin your photo, other people can see it, any park guests, and they'll remain part of the digital mural for at least the next 3 years, hoping that families return year after year and can, kind of see how they progress or add family members or whatever through those photos. And then the exclusive video of a visitor's specific photo that flies from the castle can be downloaded and shared. This is for buyers who purchased the 50th anniversary package. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, this is like, again, it's kind of a fun thing, but I really would not spend any money on this personally. I don't think my kids would care about it. I wouldn't care about it. But I do know those people who would care about it and love it. And, it's something that's exclusive and it's Disney. And those people who are diehard Disney, that are going once a year or multiple times a year, this could be their thing. So I like that they're bringing in more digital interactions. I do think this, however, could be expanded to people who maybe don't get to go into the park or, have visited the park in the past and want to still imagine themselves there. Could they go to Disney in the metaverse? I don't know. So I feel like this is just scratching the surface for me. But yeah, I mean, Disney's always looking to make a dime through PhotoPass service, Fast Pass, which now is no longer, and now there's something else. And, there's always like a new way of doing things. So I think they're just, continuing to try what else can we do to create these experiences and these moments throughout the park. And this doesn't really cost us anything, right? This is a digital real estate that we have available and, a pretty seamless thing. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this one, right? Like, I think it's interesting. Like as you were talking about this, I'm picturing like in an old school way, like a wall where like you've been there and like, you sign your name on the wall or something and, you've left your sort of mark on that place, right? And this is essentially like, a virtual, AR, sort of gallery of photos, that are pinned to that location. And so I like the concept of it. I personally, I don't like it that it's like something that you have to pay for to participate in. I like you're already paying to be there. You're already paying to go to the castle. Like let me leave my photo there and then monetize if you want, like the content outside of that, right? In terms of like if people want to kind of share that on social media, with their friends or, or because this is tied to the My Disney Experience app, like if you've been there this weekend and, other family members have been there like, 3 months ago, through some sort of, social media, connection that you're linked up to each other. When I'm there, I can like it directly lets me see the photos of, my friends or my family that were there before me, in that spot or something like that. I think would be kind of interesting because just seeing a gallery of like a billion photos, like, of people who've been there that I don't know or are not relevant to me, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But like, like if you go to like a place and like, again, I'm going back to this old school and like I wrote my name on the wall and somebody's, that really well or a good friend or family member, did the same thing. Like you're going to go there trying to find, their signature, right? Or find their whatever on the wall. And I think that kind of discovery of content in that way could be an interesting, piece to this. But conceptually, I like how they're creating, virtual content tied to a physical space. I'm just not kind of sold on the whole sort of like pay to play part of it.
Yep.
All
I
right.
will not be happy.
Yeah. All right. On to our final story now. So there's a new technology, a new app out in the marketplace called Smart Radio. And this is a joint venture between a connected vehicle technology company called Connected Travel and a company called Radioline, as well as a sports betting tech provider called SimpleBet. And essentially, what Smart Radio is, it works with Google's Android automotive system, and it enables drivers and passengers to transact with radio programming in real time, including gamifying programming and making advertising shoppable. But really, what this is all about and what they're testing right now is to enable sports fans to interact with NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and college football and basketball games, and to be able to make bets in real time, based on the radio broadcast. And so I think this is really interesting. It's all voice enabled. So, you're kind of good from you're not having to, take your hands off the wheel while you're driving to enable this to happen. It's Android Automotive, Android Auto. It does work on Apple CarPlay as well. Currently supporting more than 110,000 radio streams and podcasts from 164 countries in 18 different languages. And I think it's pretty interesting. The whole market around sports betting and wagering has obviously opened up both in the U.S. and here in Canada in the last little while. And we're, it's just growing by leaps and bounds right now. Last week, in the last couple of weeks, actually, the NCAA announced that college conferences and individual schools will be allowed to provide stats and other data points to sports wagering companies. So that's new as well, and will only support the growth of this type of thing. So one of the examples that they gave for this was around baseball. And they said, for example, during a baseball broadcast, drivers and passengers would be able to bet on each at-bat or pitch in a game, earn points for each correct at-bat, accumulate prizes for winning streaks, and a grand prize for earning enough points. Points can then be redeemed for goods and services via the player's mobile phone in local shops or online retailers. So one of the things I like about that too is you're playing, you're sort of earning points as you go along. And I like this idea that the redemption of those points is also around local retail or shops as well. So they're driving the redemption. They're building a network of partners around this. It's kind of like, in some ways, if you remember the what was the name, Aubriana, of the that little system with the devices when you're sitting in the bars and you could be like playing trivia or doing games, against other people in the bar or even other bars on the network, NTN or something like that, right? I think.
Yeah, there was several, and there was some that you could just do like through your phone itself as well.
Yeah. So kind of think of that now, but all voice enabled and all based on, the sports broadcasts that you're listening to on radio while you're driving. So I think this is pretty cool. I think this is pretty innovative. I'm excited about, the potential for where this can go, and I like the connection to local retailers on the redemption side. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think this is really fun and it's creative. And one, just alone in the sports betting arena, obviously, you've got just massive adoption, massive revenue, right? Like the total addressable market there is huge. So being able to interact beyond like the mobile app, or, it used to be you had to go to like Delaware, Jersey, or Vegas to, to engage in legal sports betting. Now that's completely changed, as you mentioned. And now, most people are engaging a lot of times like DraftKings or, whatever it may be on their phone, those types of betting apps and sites. And now to expand that even further and make it more of like you can engage play by play, you can engage in all these different ways, is very smart. It's a great, I think it's a great moneymaker. But I could also see the ability to interact beyond sports betting in this way. So maybe you mentioned trivia, right? Family trivia, and maybe you're battling another family or other families, and you're playing in the car on your road trip. So there's a lot of other things that you could do here that just go beyond that. And so I think that this is like a whole nother very interesting avenue, and something that also is interactive, right? Like you're not staring at a screen the whole time, you're listening. And I think that's something we just don't do enough these days.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Like, both last week with geo broadcast and now this week, we're talking about radio, right? And it's to me, it's super fascinating to see, like, radio, terrestrial broadcast, or streaming in this case, radio, is finding ways to remain relevant, to grow their share of the ad pie, and to engage with people on the go, on the move, in the location that they're in, right? And it just speaks to what we've been talking about all along at the LBMA for the last 12 years, about people, places, and media, and the linkages between that. So I like this a lot. I think it makes a ton of sense, and we'll be watching closely to see how they go with smart radio.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's our show for this week. You've been listening and watching episode number 579 of Location Weekly. We thank you so much for your time. Please let us know if you have other story ideas. Reach out to us with feedback, criticism, whatever. We're here to take it all. And we'll be back next week with another show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.